I'm making these videos for all the target individuals and to bring awareness. Um, I really not provide my identity at this point. I'm currently looking for employment, but I can say that I live in New York City and I'm 32 years old. Graduated with a bachelor degree in business administration and moved to New York in mid 2019. And I became aware that I was a targeted individual in August 2019. That's when I got my first voice to call, V2K. Prior to that, obviously, I was being followed by random individuals, strangers, everywhere I went. I would go to a coffee shop and there would be a group of individuals just kind of following me there and just looking at me and just random people that I have no idea who they are. And they were all, first they were mostly women of all races and then became everybody, like just random people, no specific, you know. That will happen, you know, for months until, until I finally got the V2K. Um, when that happened, obviously I was shocked, but the first thing that was said was I was I had to go back to Rwanda. So I'm originally from Rwanda, and in the voice, this individual asked me to go back to Rwanda, and I thought, okay, this is a legit entity. Maybe it's a technology that I wasn't aware of, but I was kind of shocked and kind of like intrigued because, and I said when I was interacting with them that this is wow, I didn't know such technology existed, and it was a new way of communicating. Um, give you a little bit of my background. Prior to moving to New York, I used to work for a company based in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin, and I lived in Chicago. I was into I was in the digital marketing team, and this company sells, they're pretty big. They sell packaging supplies from boxes and bubble wraps, and they're very well connected in the in all branch of the government. Kind of people that have reach, they can talk to anybody. Um, and so, and when I left there after 5 years, there was a friction. There was friction when I left. But anyhow, so fast forward to like August 2019, I got voice to skills, my first voice to call um, interaction. And the first was basically asking me to go back to Rwanda. And at that point, I was like, okay, so what's the next step? You know, they were deporting me, you know. And I was like, okay, well, so what's the next step? And they never gave me any real answer. It was confusing, so I left it there, confused, but still in my head. And later that night, it became more sinister. They started first of all like trying to talk about things I've done when I was, a middle schooler, barely 14 or something, and trying to, you know, and then asking me that, I should kill myself for all the things I've done, and things just didn't make any sense. They would just tell me that you should go home, and home is not anywhere on earth, and basically leaving me more confused. Um, and then they started inserting image and things in my head, intrusive thoughts, disgusting thoughts. Um, for some of view targeted individual who has experienced that know what I'm talking about. It's very disturbing and hard to kind of stay cool when they have those things going through your head. And that consisted of my dreams. Prior to that, I barely, I mean, I had a few dreams in my life, but the dreams, appear they're able to control your dreams. They're able to create storylines and put image in your dreams and manipulate your dream, insert dreams when you sleep. And most of them are disturbing and meant to kind of torment you. So I was completely confused at that point. I thought this was happening to me only. And mind you, I mean, I am a civilian. I have no secret, that's worth doing all this for. I'm not an agent. Um, and I was just confused at this. Why is this happening? This it makes zero sense. It doesn't, but after learning about target individual and the phenomena that it is, I found out that this is something that's been happening for years in the dark. Um, I'm aware of it because I had to inform myself. But prior to that, I could never believe such thing existed. I would be very skeptical that if somebody told me that and I did not experience any of it. I was being harassed externally for a while then. I knew something was going on. I felt like I was being watched, but I didn't know that to the extent where my brain could be hacked in. I always thought I was being watched. When I was in Chicago, I even hired somebody to go through my apartment and check for bugs or something because it seemed felt like I was being watched. Um, when I moved to New York, same, but more stalking, like more um, community stalking, more gang stalking, which at that point I didn't know the terminology. I was just a bunch of people following me that I don't know and would make me uncomfortable everywhere I go publicly. I would go to a park and there's a bunch of people just sitting next to me, looking at me, making it obvious they're looking at me, right? They're trying to make them make sure they're seen being, being stalkers or watching me. Um, so yeah, and then I had roommates. Obviously, I have roommates even now, and that's when the sound campaigns became even harsher. So when I started getting the V2K, the sound campaigns became more aggressive, more door slamming, more honking, more sirens, and as they put those intrusive thoughts, disgusting imagery in my head, the the sound campaign will even be more aggressive, as in they'll let me know that people outside will let me know that they're seeing what's happening in your brain, in your mind, and what kind of thoughts. Knowing that I'm not the one, or I assume they know that I'm not the one controlling my brain at this point. Somebody externally is able to, have those thoughts going through my head, and you are helpless, right? And you feel guilty because it's your brain, but they're not your thoughts, and it's disturbing. And while they're doing that, you also, I'm in my experience, they're moving, they're able to kind of, stimulate things in your body. For me specifically, at first was like the lower, uh, the bottom of my stomach. Like I could feel it like just cramping every time something happened, and it's kind of conditioning. You know, the specific noise will have. If I heard a noise, one specific noise like a scream or something, that's that muscle just cramp up, and that was first. And as now they have more. I feel like they do more of different stimulation, and I think some of you know what I'm talking about. and at the not a terrible time while they're still putting this disgusting stuff in your head. I want to say I know how it sound, right? For the non-target individuals that are watching this, that are just curious and just want to know what's going on with this phenomena. If it's, I would say prior to that date, I will not be a believer. I understand, but now that I am and I have to be informed, I have to learn, and I heard different testimonies that match mine, and thankfully, I want to thank anybody who was a target individual and has posted a testimony. It inspired to create um, my own videos and talk about my experience as a target individual. Um, it's not a comfortable thing to do, but I think I need to do it for the next target individual and for the non-target individuals that want to learn and they want to know about it. Um, I can only talk about my experience and what's happening to me. What's happening to me is my I am being gangsta, right? So people are following me, random people I don't know, following me. They mumble things when they pass by me, as in die or whatever. Make sure that I'm uncomfortable wherever I go. Um, but where things go a little more sci-fi or more crazy or harder to believe is when the brain is involved. So my brain is hacked. I feel like my brain is hacked and my brain is manipulated. Um, Thoughts are inserted. My brain is rewired, remat. Basically, kind of lose. It's like a new persona is being created in your brain. Um, and I think the people involved, and I hear the perks, the perps. They're trying to normalize what's happening to you, right? Because they're just trying to justify what's happening. So when they're inserting those things in your head, they make sure that they're aware that it's happening to you, and they also try to make you feel guilty for things you might have done as as a kid, as a middle schooler, try to justify what they're doing to you, right? But the truth is, they're the one doing horrible things to civilians, to regular Joes, and they're getting away with cruelty, with torture, and they're trying to make it seem like this is a normal thing. This is something that should be accepted. Um, but the truth is, I would invite you to all of you to look at all the testimonies and see the terrible and disgusting things that being is happening right now in the United States and other countries. The different ways they're torturing people, and it's there's no specific. It happens to older, young, you know, men and women all over the country, and the goal is really to torment you to the point where you harm yourself or maybe harm others, right? Um, so with that being said, know that do not listen to what they're saying, right? Um, they're they're there to torment you. Their credibility with you should be zero. You should not try to accept anything they say. It's hard, and I'm trying to practice what I'm preaching right now. It's a way to tell myself to do the same and try to find a way to cope while it's happening, right? But I want to say to all the target individuals that we gotta stay strong and tell our story and continue to bring this, you know, um, bring this to the public as much as we can. And to the known target individuals, I just want you guys to ask yourself, right? If you do some research, right, you'll see that there's been a lot of experiments, even here in the United States, on civilians, on consenting civilians. Now imagine this happening with the level of technology available or around that you might even heard. Now imagine the technology that is not for the public. Imagine what's the kind of resource are available for that kind of technology that's harmful to people. And understand that it's been done. Civilians every day per people have have been tested and experimented on for years here in the United States. You know, um, and just do this started as a research. Just take, for example, CIA research. I mean, experiments on civilian, and see the result, and see the sources of those results. Legit source to you, legit. So, the one thing a target individual asks himself is why me? It makes no sense that this will happen. The resource and the amount of of energy spent on this makes no sense. And for me, I believe in my theory is this is mostly experimental. This is another sample. The more samples, the more the closer to perfection this technology is going to be. Whatever end goal is, I can see obviously there could be good things coming out of this, but the way they're you applying it to us is pure evilness, pure sadistic way. Is this going to be a weapon, that's going to be applied on others during war? I mean, at this point, this is just to me. I think it's just a theory, but I think it's just experimental. And the people that are on those lists um, come from all walk of life, educated, non-educated, young, old. I mean, and I think for me specifically, I got on the list because one of my employer, who who's very well connected in the government, um, reached out to somebody and made sure that not only I can disappear and have no credibility, but also you know be pushed to this, right, be tormented. It makes sense to me because I did work for an employer that could get this kind of connection, that could reach out to somebody who is up there, who could put anybody on this. And that is perhaps not as um, has a very minimal morality. Um, so yeah, so my message on this video is I just wanted to give a bit of my testimony, give you a bit of what's happened to me. Like I said, in regard to my identity, I'd rather not say my name just for now because I am still trying to function in this society as much as I can, even though this is happening to me. And I know what I'm saying sounds sounds you know out there far-fetched, but it's the truth. And our target individuals know it is the truth. Um, and to the skeptics, um, it just you not it's too many people are coming out with the same story, too many, and it's just at some point you're gonna have to put two and two together and figure out something terrible is happening under everybody's nose. And there's a lot more people who knows about it who participate in this. People that you won't think they're capable of doing this. Um, So I want to do my part and try to bring awareness. Um, and just wish all the target individuals, if they're capable, to try to provide a testimony, regardless of where they are and regardless of how little of a voice they have. Let's all do our best and make sure something happens and that people are aware that this is happening. So be strong. Please try not to harm yourself. Please try not to harm others. There's nothing good's gonna come out of that. And yes, I'm sure justice will be done one day or another, one way or another. Um, just do your part. Make sure this is not done in vain. There'll be more targeted individual. And at this point, I know none of us signed up to be activists in this matter, but this is what we need to do. If it's not for us, it's for the future target individual. Nothing good is happening from this specific experiment. This is purely to torment and slowly kill somebody. So do your best and speak. Thank you, and be safe.